Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Today I want to return to a subject I've talked about in the past, climate change. Less about the specifics of climate change, more about something that happened that proved a point that I made about the people who are so exercised about climate change, or I don't know why I keep saying climate change, global warming. That's what they really mean. As I said in an earlier video, they changed from global warming to climate change because when you say global warming and the globe doesn't warm, that causes a doubt about what the heck you're talking about. So they changed their mantra from global warming to climate change, because then any change in the climate can be used to support their argument. The event that happened today, actually there were two events. So the first one is the wonderful, crazy mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, who I am happy to say is no longer my mayor. He and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are holding a rally for her Green New Deal. So this is about climate change. That's a big part, perhaps almost the entire part of the Green New Deal. And they're holding it in front of Trump Tower. So I guess they get a twofer, right? They get to talk about climate change and they get to vent their hatred of Donald Trump. That's number one. Number two, you remember that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that we had 12 years to deal with climate change or it would be too late. The earth would be doomed in 12 years if we did nothing about that. But now, as you're going to see from this headline that I'm putting up, she's backtracking on that. She's walking that back. One reason, of course, is because everybody laughed at her. Here is this bartender from the Bronx who gets elected to Congress in a district where Nancy Pelosi said a glass of water could get elected if it has a D after its name. So no big deal that she won. To give her credit, though, she did beat Joe Crowley, who was the representative, Democrat of course, of that district for a long, long time. So credit to her for that, but it's no big deal, trust me on this, for a Democrat to win in the Bronx. Now, she is walking this back, as I said, because everybody is laughing at her and ridiculing this claim that the earth is doomed in 12 years if we don't do something about climate change. But there's a second reason why she's walking it back, and this is what I want to get to today because it harkens back to a video I made earlier about something called falsification. To review, what is falsification? Falsification is if you state a scientific hypothesis, you have to accompany that with something that would prove your hypothesis to be false. In other words, as I said in the earlier video, if I say the world is flat, I have to propose some experiment that would determine one way or the other whether the earth is flat or not, and a fact that if it materializes would prove my hypothesis incorrect, which in the case of a flat earth is very simple. These days you take a rocket up into the atmosphere and then you look down, and if the earth is round, then I'm wrong. If it's flat, then I'm right. Or you start off in one direction, you should come back to where you started if the earth is round. Now, the problem with climate change, as I said, is that the climate change proponents, or I say the climate change cult, they never do that. They do not propose any fact or potential fact that would prove them wrong. One of them would be, obviously now, and this is where we're getting to the Green New Deal and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is that she said very specifically that the earth would be doomed if we do not follow her policies within 12 years. At 12 years it would be too late. I'll cut her some slack on whether the earth would be doomed, but basically she's saying we have a time limit of 12 years, by which time we must do something or it's too late, which logically says, well, it says two things. Number one, if by that 12-year deadline that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has given us, we have not followed her recommendations, have not done what she said we must do, then it makes no sense to talk about climate change anymore after that time, because it's too late, according to her. So you move to higher ground, or you take whatever steps you think you have to take to insulate yourself as much as possible, or to protect yourself as much as possible from the effects of this predicted climate change. But it makes no more sense to keep talking about taking steps to prevent climate change than it does to stick around when you predict a hurricane is coming and the time to get out of the hurricane area passes. Because if you're still there, then it's too late. You're going to get caught in a hurricane. The second conclusion, and this is the conclusion that I think really prompted her to change her tune on her 12-year deadline, is because that is what I would call a potential fact of falsification. If we reach that deadline and the dire effects of having done nothing about climate change fail to materialize, that means that her theory is wrong. And it would also end their calls to spend money, which is what they really want, for the government to switch us to renewable energy sources like wind and solar, to spend money on, well, whatever they want to spend money on, but it all boils down to more government control. The basis for that goes out the window if we reach this deadline and nothing has happened. So what is she doing? She's doing exactly what I predicted in my earlier video, which is when you set a hard date by which time we must do something to solve this imagined climate change problem, the date comes and we haven't done anything, thereby proving the theory wrong. They just changed the date, just as Al Gore predicted in 2006 that we had 10 years to solve the problem. So 2016 comes along, 2017, 2018, we're in 2019, and nothing has happened. So now we have a new date, which is Alexandria, or we had a new date, which was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's 12-year deadline. And now she's walked that back. So there's no deadline. We have an unlimited period of time, and that means that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and all these Green Deal supporters or believers, they have an unlimited time to keep calling for actions against climate change. And that's what they want. It's as plain as day. That's it for today. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Share it with your friends if you think your friends would benefit from the video. Subscribe so you won't miss future videos. If you have an idea for a future subject, put it in the comments below. And of course, if you have your own comments, put your comments in the comments section below the video, because you heard what I think. I am interested to hear what you think. And that's it. See you again soon. Bye.